Well, you can add Cole Kmet to the growing list of Chicago Bears players that were injured. We're going to talk about the injury, what it could mean right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central. It's an emergency episode. So, as most Bears fans who've been watching things closely have seen, is that the injury bug has gotten the Chicago Bears pretty seriously over the course of the season, with the first major injury really being Tevin Jenkins. He's the first one that's kind of projected to not be ready to go by week one. But even with the list of nagging injuries that's growing every single day, we have another one to add to it, unfortunately. And this time, it's unfortunately Cole Kmet. So Cole Kmet, who just signed his 4-year, $50 million deal this offseason with the Chicago Bears, was injured at practice today, which he initially left with the cart, but it seems like, at least in a little bit of positive news, he was able to get off the cart and then walk to the back afterwards. So if you got a lot of you guys are seeing that Cole Kmet left practice with the cart, he did initially go on the cart, but he came off of it. But this is a major weapon for almost said Zach Levine, for Justin Fields. A major injury when it comes to the weapons that Justin Fields has, right? And so Cole Kmet became one of his favorite targets last season, and Cole Kmet having what would have technically been a breakout season last year, really stepping out, was really expected to come in and have an even bigger season this year with the growth of the weapons on the offense and things like that. And so while we don't have details of the injury just yet, we do know that, listen, how important Cole Kmet is to the Chicago Bears offense, this could be a major injury to the Chicago Bears. And the fact of the matter is this: he was a player that was drafted by the Bears, right? Not by this front office or this regime. So he's a homegrown talent here. And you want to see, as we look for the growth of Justin Fields, right, as a quarterback, you want him to have his full complement of weapons. And so hopefully this isn't going to be anything long term. We'll see if they mention or talk about anything. They've already kind of mentioned they don't have to really report injuries until September 6th. So they may hold out into reporting exactly what it is until then, much like they're doing with Tevin Jenkins. But when you look at the list of players that are growing and not playing and participating in practice, we have Wright, Davis, Patrick, Jenkins, Jackson, Brisker, Claypool, Jones Jr., Travis Homer, Dante Foreman, Treston Ebner, Blackwell, Gates, Cole, Lewis, Pettis, and Ngakoue. Like, these are all players that are just not Rasheem Green, like, not practicing. And so as this list continues to grow, it's just raising more and more questions about the readiness of the Chicago Bears once that season does start and we're playing the Green Bay Packers in week one. So, of course, I don't want to fearmonger. I don't want to, cause any signs for concern or anything like that. But the list of injuries are growing, and how the Bears are going to overcome this is going to probably be the big first test of the season. We've already talked about on today's daily episode as well the number of injuries we have just to that offensive line on top of everything else, right? The offensive line that we've kind of brought in a lot of new talent to and needed to protect Justin Fields better than last season. So the number of questions and injuries that we have on that line leaves much to be desired. Now, if Cole Kmet is going to miss extended time, we don't really know, right? I want to be clear here. We don't know the extent of the injury or anything yet. But if it ends up being the case, keep in mind, we do have Robert Tonyan, who we did acquire this offseason, who is a really solid tight end on top of things. While we did want to see what it looked like with both tight ends and a couple of tight end sets, we do have somebody who can step in and help take those snaps and play and produce, be used in the passing game as a solid blocker in both the run and the pass blocking as well. Not as good as Cole Kmet, but he can step up and be a weapon for Justin Fields as well at that tight end position. We've also brought in Mercedes Lewis and things like that. So we'll see. Mercedes Lewis more of a blocking tight end at this point in his career, but we do have some built-in depth there. It's not huge. It's not amazing. It's definitely not nearly at the level of what we would expect Cole Kmet to be. But with that said, the Chicago Bears take another hit. And this is another hit that we did not want to see for a team that has changed their goals from being a 3-14 team to now being a team that's hopefully going to make a playoff push. But let me know what you guys' thoughts down below. Do you expect Cole Kmet, like hearing this injury, how does it make you feel about the readiness of the Chicago Bears to start the season? Are you like me, kind of growing more and more concerned over the nagging injuries and how it's going to have our readiness for the start of the season? Let me know all that down below. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Bears Central. Make sure you guys are following the show at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.